Kyle Tucker is back in the Chicago Cubs lineup after a 3-game break imposed by manager Craig Counsell, designed to help him regain his focus and refine his swing. But here's where it gets controversial. Did this pause truly benefit Tucker and the team? Tucker himself offered a modest silver lining. "We won a few games," he said, "so that's positive." Yet the Cubs still dropped the final game of a 5-game series against the Milwaukee Brewers on Thursday at Wrigley Field, falling 4-1 and slipping 7 games behind in what's supposed to be the National League Central Division race, though frankly, it barely feels like a race at this stage. In his return, Tucker went hitless in 4 at-bats, though he managed 1 walk. Meanwhile, the Cubs squandered a great pitching performance from Shota Imanaga, who was almost flawless with 7 innings and only 1 mistake, a 2-run home run by Brice Turang in the 2nd inning. The Brewers may have been in town for only 5 games and 1 rainout since Monday, but it felt like their presence lingered much longer. The Cubs managed to take the series overall, but it still felt like a missed chance to gain ground. Manager Counsell described the series as holding serve, admitting that the team probably needed the wins more than they got. "Winning 3 out of 5 games adds up," he said. "Today's loss stings a bit. They simply outplayed us." Offensively, the Cubs struggled badly, registering just 5 hits and going 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position, ending the entire series with a dismal .187 batting average against Brewers pitching. In an interesting tactical move, Counsell rested their hottest hitter, Matt Shaw, only using him late as a defensive substitute in the 9th inning. Despite windy conditions blowing in, Thursday was Tucker's moment to prove that his time off was worth it. Instead, he grounded out twice, hit a weak liner to second base, and flied out to center field. This week has been a whirlwind for Tucker. Once a steady, under-the-radar star for the Houston Astros, now booed, benched, and at the center of Chicago media frenzy. Here's the part most people miss. Tucker's summer slump is linked to a small fracture in his right hand, near his ring and pinky fingers, reportedly from a slide on June 1st. But no one is really certain about the timeline because he actually hit well for a period right after the injury, which was kept under wraps, before completely losing his power, failing to hit any home runs since July 17th. The Cubs chose not to disclose the injury's details until Counsell reluctantly confirmed an ESPN report on Wednesday after the game. Tucker says he managed to play through the pain, but playing hurt arguably harmed both him and the team as his struggles, coupled with underperformances from other players, helped knock the Cubs out of first place and into a wild card chase. "I just decided I'm going to keep playing," Tucker said. "There wasn't really any need to be on the injured list, IL, because I could still do everything. It was more about pain tolerance than being physically unable." A crucial note. Tucker is on track to become a top free agent hitter, potentially earning north of $400 million. Missing games could have seriously impacted his market value, yet he persevered until Counsell finally benched him after Monday's game to give him a mental reset. Why the secrecy? Counsell explained it's common for teams to withhold injury information if the player is still healthy enough to compete. He doesn't believe the Cubs misled anyone, emphasizing Tucker was performing well for some time. "We don't fully understand what happened," Counsell said, "but we chose to keep playing him because he was managing the injury and tolerating it, which players often do to push through difficulties." Back to the game. Turang's early 2-run homer off Imanaga set the tone. The Cubs' lone run came against Quinn Priester and 5 relievers from the Brewers, a group that kept their bats largely in check. The Cubs had a real chance in the 7th inning to tie the game with the tying run on base and no outs. Unfortunately, Tucker's soft liner to second base turned into a double play because Michael Busch misjudged it and couldn't get back in time, followed immediately by Seiya Suzuki striking out. Milwaukee added 2 more runs in the 8th on Isaac Collins' 2-run single off Ryan Brazier, whose ERA has ballooned to 14.86 over his last 8 appearances. An alarming 11 earned runs in just 6 2/3 innings. Though the Cubs started the 8th inning with back-to-back walks, they couldn't convert that into any runs. After this tough loss, the Cubs hit the road for a West Coast swing, a 3-game series in Anaheim against the Los Angeles Angels, followed by visits to San Francisco and Denver. Despite recent setbacks, the Cubs still control their own destiny in the NL wildcard race, and their recent 5-3 homestand hints at emerging from the post-All-Star slump. Brewers fans definitely made a strong showing at Wrigley this week, filling the stands even during weekday day games, a notable feat given a rainout and most kids being back in school. Thursday's game featured a touching tribute, a replay of late Brewers broadcaster Bob Uecker leading the 7th inning stretch at Wrigley, uniting fans from both cities. Uecker, who passed away at age 90 in January, will be honored with a memorial at Sunday's Brewers-Giants game in Milwaukee. So, the season series concludes with a 7-6 edge for the Cubs. But how much does that really matter? This rivalry offers much more than just wins and losses. Passionate fan taunting, dramatic game endings, and even Brewers manager Pat Murphy's bold claim that his team remains underdogs despite leading the division by a mile. Here's a question for you. Should the Cubs have been more transparent about Tucker's injury earlier? And do you think playing hurt ultimately cost the team and Tucker's own value? Or was it right for the player to soldier on? One thing's for sure, the Cubs and Brewers rivalry keeps intensifying every year, and the real showdown may well be if they face off in the postseason, where the stakes will be do or die. That battle could be the perfect climax to a rivalry that just keeps getting better and better.